All right, welcome back, everybody. Now we're going to talk about the water update, the impromptu water update that was given at the council meeting. Once again, the link is going to be above somebody's head up here. You can link to that video. You can watch it. There was a lot of interesting things that came out of this water update. As you had heard Marjorie say in the video, she did have a meeting with some residents. By the way, those residents were us. And, the city asked for our help. Finding where the issues are happening, reporting them back to the city. And from what we were told in that meeting, the city is working on a system where you would be able to text in the issue. You wouldn't have to, give your home address. You could give the vicinity that you're in. Hopefully the city does come through with that, and we want nothing more than to help the residents that are dealing with this issue be able to report it and get it solved. So, we do not want to purposely have an adversarial relationship with our city government. So, but there were a few things that were very interesting that came out of this water update, and a few things said that were kind of strange. One thing that stuck out in my mind was the mayor coming forth and asking about carcinogen in the water, or whether or not our water is, has, carcinogenic elements in it. I don't know.
Would you like me to comment on that?
Sure, go right ahead.
So the behind closed door answer with Brian Wheeler, Councilman Keith Trace, Amy, which is Mr. Sturgeon's assistant, Mr. Sturgeon, Marjorie Craig, Michelle, Tom, Brandy, and myself, Cameron. The behind closed doors answer was, we do not conclusively know if it causes if it's a carcinogen or if it causes cancer.
They told us that in the meeting.
It is unconclusive. That is the truthful answer that we got behind closed doors. Now, Brandy specifically said, you have been telling me for years that it is safe to drink. Produce me numbers that show that the resin is consumable, biodegradable by our body. So body degradable? And that it's not a carcinogen going forward. Brandy specifically asked those questions, and I'll tell you right now, nothing was produced. We literally sat there and discussed whether or not you could do anything to get this out of your system. So in other words, I thought for years boiling the water was getting rid of the toxicity of the products that were in there. I always thought that because they always tell you boil your water, boil your water. Well, when I got in touch with Michelle and Brandy, they were the ones who informed me and led me somewhere where I did my own research to learn that that was not an option, and that this whole time
you boil water for nothing because you can't boil it out.
Correct. And so my response to the city manager, Bill Sturgeon, was, had you guys have been transparent with us in the beginning and told us exactly what was in our water and what we were consuming, I would have done things a lot differently. Instead of buying 5-gallon jugs hand over fist and cases of water hand over fist and filters for my sink and my this and my that and yada yada, I would have probably bought a reverse osmosis system for my home. Right. Where we have a gentleman who's a supporter of our page, and he's a supporter of our page, and he speaks very highly of his reverse osmosis system that he has. And he did say it's quite pricey, but he's willing to, he's reached out and said he's willing to let us see it and what it does for him. And doing my research, that seems to be one of the best options. But they weren't transparent.
But we don't know. And let me be clear about that.
Correct.
Before you promote a system, I asked them specifically, and they've never given me this answer. If any system actually removes the resin, you may see the proof in that system, but they said that they didn't, because of the size of the resin, that system still may not be guaranteed.
And that's why I say it's a great start,
yes.
But it's not the fix.
Right.
And so the problem is our lack of transparency, not ours, but the municipality's lack of transparency has led people to continue to consume, thinking you could do it. And who knows what happens when you change the molecular structure. I mean, any one of us that ever took a chemistry class or biology class knows that when things change their molecular structure, it changes what can occur with the body.
Right.
And so who knows? Is it doing worse by boiling it out? Is it being better by boiling it out? Who knows?
The thing that bothers me the most is they're not exactly being honest about it.
Correct.
Honesty is very important in life. whether it's in your relationship or with people you deal with, and once you break, you're not honest with people, you break that
That's it.
trust,
Break the
it's
trust.
very hard to get it back.
Right.
And this continual just saying things, kind of like
With no
what they
proof.
said, with no proof, saying like, oh, that there's it's not carcinogenic. The proper thing to say is,
We
as
don't
far
know.
as we know, it's not,
That's
because you don't
exactly
know exactly that it is.
Well, and as far as
So,
they don't,
I mean,
they know, they don't know.
They
Most
don't,
important thing that they can be is honest with
Hands
the
down.
people.
they should still be honest.
Hands down.
And I'm still hopeful
I am still hopeful too.
that we can go
I'm
forward
hopeful
with
for
the
the
city
alerts.
and maybe help the residents, because that's a lot of what Safe St. Cloud is about, is helping the residents.
Well, that's all we want.
And
Right.
I'm hopeful that if we keep, because when we were in the previous meeting, her whole, I told Marjorie, I said, your whole basis of if it's fixed or not is complaints.
Correct.
And I said, people have given up, number one.
That's true.
Because they've complained so many times, still they're blue in the face, nothing changed. Number two, when you tell me to get called some number and it's a city number, I'm
Yeah.
thinking I'm gonna press this for this, press this for that. I only have a 30-minute break for lunch. I don't have time to waste my lunch break
Sitting at
pressing
home.
this number, pressing that number. A lot of people don't understand what it is in their water, so they're not that scared. They're thinking, oh, it's not that big of a deal, so they don't know that they should be complaining. So I told her the complaints, you're not making it easy on people. And we were saying a text, phone number,
Right.
you should have easier ways for people to say there's a problem.